how do I do what I do? How do I think what I think? How do I decide to do what I decide to do? And how do I decide not to do what I decide not to do? And how I end up doing once I have decided to do something. Like I decide I have to raise my hand. Now the question is, what do I do to that this hand actually starts lifting itself up?
Well, some people would call that free will, right?
Yeah, that is what they call, that's right.
Yeah.
But what I am suggesting, when you calling anything, you process it to the best of your ability, calmness, without any belief. Then you come to realize there is no such entity that is you as a doer. You are only there as a presence, as a knowing, as an element, or as a spark or a ray of consciousness, or just consciousness. And it seems like you are doing this, you are doing that, but there is no doer. Like a shadow moves here and there, but shadow is not moving itself, it is moved. So somehow like that, something within you or within me is moved as a doer. And we end up believing I am the doer, I am the mover. And that is the basic, in Hindu terminology, cause of bondage. Why, how do I know I'm a man? Because I seem to be believing or acknowledging that what I do or feel, it is only possible because of me being able to regulate this or control that. It is not, it is a divine process, it is a universal process. So it is, I would say, more a realization, but one has to first hear about it, then go slowly about it, and then if one is really pure-hearted and very smart intellectually, then only catches it. Like for example, when you dream, in the dream also you find yourself as a doer, doing this or that.
Right.
Only when you wake up you realize, oh my God, I was led to dream this way, that means I was led to do that way or this way. You realize there is really no doer, you were only led to do in the dream. As you are led to do in the dream, whatever you are led to do in the dream, likewise you are led to do in the waking state also.
Right.
And that is how you come to know there is a universal cosmic energy field, cosmic power, force that regulates the whole cosmos, and we are only some flying puppets or whatever you call it.
So if I am just that a consciousness which is observing what is happening, and I'm not doing it.
Who is doing it?
Well, yeah, or my question, maybe it's the wrong question. What do I do with that? Like, how do I think of that? Because I still experience myself as making choices. Something has to make choices.
No. I still feel like that I am making choices.
Yeah.
But then even if you feel like making choices, you don't feel that kind of guilt or that kind of arrogance that is cause of bondage. Superiority complex, inferiority complex, like my eyes are not feeling superior to my toes or fingers. It is like they are part of the whole one body unit.
Right.
So we all are just going through this experience, and when you know you are not the doer, then you have no any significance or that kind of inferiority or superiority about whatever happens to you.
Right.
And you become very humble about yourself.
Right. That all makes sense to me. I actually look forward to thinking more about it, but it does. I do follow. I absolutely follow what you're saying. Now, I want to ask a question, and maybe you'll tell me it's not a good question. Or
No, I am very honored. Ask the most blunt question you could ask anyone.
All right. So just before I started filming, you said you didn't want to talk about fracking, which I totally understand. I'm sure not really a particularly fun subject, and you're probably tired of it. But in light of what you just said, so you have the experience you're having. You know, you're living in at the level of consciousness that you're talking about, and at the same time, you have to deal with all these external realities, some of which are very unpleasant and are impacting you in a very direct way. And they're coming from other people who, I would think, also think they're doing, but maybe they're not doing either. But then how do you make sense out of behaviors that actually are helpful and behaviors that aren't? Because fracking and natural gas extraction is a behavior that isn't very helpful.
It's just like some dogs are mad, some are not mad. Some human beings are mad, some are not mad. Some are more kind, some are more sweet, some are more clever, some are more deceitful. So it is just like a huge human forest garden in which many human beings have many varieties,
right.
many diversities and propensities and inclinations are there,
right.
And we end up darting around, mingling around, avoiding and interacting naturally. So that is how I look at it. There is not much more than that.
So it's neither good nor bad, it just is.
In that sense, yes, it is like that. I can use the word good and bad also. Like if something is painful in my body, I experience pain. So since pain we don't like, so we call it bad. And something I like that I may get a cup of tea and I will enjoy, I will call it good. So we use these terms and there is nothing wrong with those terms.
Yeah.
But when you know that your essence is beyond feeling good or bad, it is the mind that feels good and bad, and you are the knower of the mind that reveals what mind feels in any given moment and situation. So you are transcendental in that sense always. And being transcendent, you come to know automatically. You witness, like you witness your dream. When you wake up from the dream, you remember, oh my God, what I went through. So we are just going through, like now you happen to come, I happen to like you, I happen to offer a cup of tea, and I am enjoying now interacting with you. Hopefully I am seeing God in you, or to whatever extent goodness in you. So this is celebration of life.
Yeah.
So I lost your question. Please pin it down again to my consciousness.
Well, you in so many ways you actually answered it, I think. But here's my dilemma. I really understand the concept of consciousness as a form of witness.
Okay.
And it makes a lot of sense to me when you talk about that helps us to, well, you didn't say this, so I'm paraphrasing you, but to be humble, to just let ourselves kind of be with.
Yeah, forgive each other, accept each other the way they are.
So then when we are at times faced with difficulties,
right.
How do we relate as a witness? Can we try to intervene in changing those difficulties? Because that would be a form of free will.
No. Witnessing does not mean we are not really participating in life. While we wholly participate in life, there is an element in us that is more fundamental, that remains always transcendental.
Mm-hmm.
Like while you are dreaming, there is some part in you that is always witnessing.
Yeah, and in fact, my experience of dreams almost as they happen to me. Right? So, I'm the protagonist, but they happen to me.
So same thing right now. While I am talking to you, someone is at the same time witnessing also that, and we end up participating the way we are ready to participate and act.
Yeah.
It seems like I am controlling and I can control. That is the illusion part of the ego.
Right.
And that is what we become free of when our spiritual growth is more refined and more evolved.
Right.
So let put again your pointed question so I could be more pointed in my answer.
Well, I'm going back to the issue of fracking and the issue of free will.
It's
not nice, and you would like them to
somebody
stop
comes with a gun and starts shooting me and looting me. What is the question about it? I will run away. If I can also shoot him back, I will perhaps also be ready to shoot him or her. It is not a big deal. But because that is how the energy field and my own conditioning in my body-mind complex will make me do or make itself do the way it will end up doing. It will end up acting. So it is unavoidable. The actor in you will continue to act until you exit this body. Same thing for me. It is only our interpretation of that acting. I am talking to you. How do I interpret what I am? Whether I am speaking as a doer, I am speaking as a detached witness.
Got it.
It's just like that.
I got it. Actually, that makes complete sense to me.
Even poor Buddha, how he was dealing with this issue, that issue, and how so many times challenged, threatened, cheated, and all that, and yet how fearless he was when he heard the Angulimal voice. He said, let me see what kind of dangerous man, what is this going on. He knew he could be killed, but then the power of his knowing, the power of his transcendence is not being shaky. All of us or most of will be shaky in that kind of dangerous situation. But when a person is more evolved, he or she loses that fear, that identification with this body. Because he or she knows if the body drops dead, the essence is not going to die. So there is no such shaking. It's like, okay, let us see. So that is how...
What was the word you just said? When the body drops dead, what is it that's not going to die?
Witness, the
witness.
Yeah,
because the witness is always there.
Always there, always transcendental, always aloof.
Right.
Always blesses the body and mind. And all the bodies and minds are acting the way I are ready to act. All human beings are not going to be old like me. There will be some children. They have to be trained for potty training. So there will be many human beings who will require that kind of potty training, how to behave. That is why I tell nowadays I am not against so much against fracking. I am more against this colossal inequality in wealth and this pornography and all that. Because that is spoiling the whole humanity. Who cares about fracking so much?
Yeah.
The whole spoiling of human consciousness with pornography. And then there are many writers. Anybody who can write ABCD, he can challenge you. It's like a madman can challenge a wise man. So now what for my wise man should do? It's like you are masturbating on the street, and why should I not masturbate? Why should I not prostitute? Why should I not rape? Now, how should I argue? Why should I not rape? This kind of sick society is emerging. It is because of colossal inequality in wealth. That is my belief. I could be wrong. Because what rich people can do? Rich people have got to create something to satisfy their power of wealth. I can do something extra. What extra can you do? Can you do some extra madness? They are not going to meditate. They are not going to be humanitarian. Otherwise, why would they care to hoard wealth? It is all discovery and all that. It is just nonsense. Even when Hitler was there were so many these called Nobel Prize winners were supporting Hitler. So these scientists, because they are scientists, they don't necessarily become good humanitarians. Good humanness is altogether different from our clever, intellectual, sophisticated, scientific knowledge and all that. So that is what I mean to support.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm going to turn this off.
Thank you for giving me some boost. I was feeling a little... this weather was making me feel lousy, and she also did not call, and sometimes she takes better care of me, sometimes she ignores also, so she's after all a human being.
Well, I think I was distracting her.
No, she was raving about you, so I was eager that somebody is biking and he's healthy and he's so concerned about humanity. I mean, concerned about fracking is concerned about humanity. Like what people, like when I talk about pornography, what it affects me. It is very concerned for humanity. In whatever way a gentleman has concern for humanity, he or she thinks in those lines, acts on those lines, and inspires others to act, think, and work on those lines. So this is what you are doing, this is what she is doing, this is what I am doing.